Hello again, traders. Right, this is part 2 of that extremely long video. And sorry, it was a little bit rambling, it was a little bit long, and not the best video I feel I've ever made. But, you know, I don't want to keep remaking these things or wasting time, and God forbid I even start editing them. So what you see is what you get. So I did forget to talk about one of the points that I'm finding life-changing regarding trades, and it does hark or involve the eureka moment I had from watching Raja's videos again and again, and I urge you to have a watch. But it might be something I'm seeing through my eyes because I look at charts in a similar way to him, although I didn't realise it until recently so much. And also, you know, just we evolve. I've said this on Twitter many times, is that you might watch a video a year ago, and for whatever reason, your state of mind at the time, your position in different people's strategies at the time, and then you revisit these things, much the same as indicators. When, you know, I've studied Sonic Dragon, this blue thing here, 10 years ago maybe, at length, tried to trade it, but at the time it wasn't the right time for me, obviously. You know, I was in the middle of the 3CR and all other sorts of things, and my focus was on candles as opposed to sort of MAs and swings. But getting back to this stuff about Raja, so Raja mainly talks about in his live room trading 30-minute bars, and he occasionally drops to 15s, and he looks at the H4s and H1s, obviously, like we all do. But I think for simplicity, and I'm not trying to undermine what Raja does, Raja Banks, that is, from Wicks Don't Lie, and I'm certainly not trying to swerve you away from what he does, because it's fantastic, absolute fantastic. Excuse me. But one of the things that he does, he talks about this reversal on the 30-minute, but we're looking at the hourly. But let's say this is hypothetically a 30-minute chart. He talks about price making a support level for a long reversal. So the minute this candle closed, we have got a valid support level, because one's tested it, the red one created it, and then the, if you like, the green one has confirmed it. I think I'm reading what he does right, but I know from what I do that this will most likely be a 3CR on the lower time frame. That's the 30-minute. It will also most likely be a valid reversal on the 15-minute and even the 5-minute. And then because we've got all these additional tools, or I've got all these additional tools in my toolbox that I've studied until I can study no more, as it were, then I know, and my multi-time frame, I'm certain Raja does this in the background himself. Well, when he trades for himself, should I say. He's probably getting hundreds of trades a day now. I know he often comes into his live room, well, the few times I've watched it, that is, and says, oh, I've traded this and I've traded that, and the gulag, that cracks me up, the gulag all sigh and say, oh, well, why couldn't I have taken that, why didn't you show us, and this, that and the other, but all the usual stuff. But, you know, what we've got going on here, and this is important, this is the point of this video, is that we've had the 30-minute reversal. So let's just talk about this hourly. So he would say, right, it's made support, providing we've got room to the left-hand side, then we trade the break or close above that. I can't remember the exact way he enters the trade. He does say he waits for a wick pullback and then gets in. The last one I watched live that worked was he entered straight away and said he would add to it if it pulls back. But lots and lots of different ways he trades that I don't. He closes partials. I can't get my head around that properly yet, but I would rather just take the trade and let it get stopped out if that's the case. So he would enter with the stop below what I call the trigger bar, if you like, his entry bar, and then set a target to the left-hand side based on various things. I think he likes to grab about 10 or so pips. I personally like to go to areas that I know will cause a problem with price, although that view is changing as a result of watching some of Raja's trades. I know that I leave masses on the table. I see it every day. It doesn't bother me in the least bit. I know price will go further than most of my entries because we're entering with momentum. We're entering after it's hit supply or demand. We're entering tried and tested patterns, 2Bs and such like, which have huge targets, but we all trade differently. So I'm happy. Excuse me. I know I will improve with my targets. I can see it every day, to be honest with you, and that just comes with time. So what's so exciting about this particular setup, or what caused me to make this video? Well, the M30 entry would have been around here, this support. The wick is not good, so I think that might be a no-go for Raja. Oh, by the way, I also had divergence on the 5-minute chart, I think it was, or the 15-minute chart, and you'll note I discarded that wick. Well, that's because, I've seen, if you look at a line chart, that's the line chart, that's the divergence. I don't think Raja uses line charts either, so that's an additional tool in our toolbox. So far I've got the Bollinger helping me, the RSI Histo Momentum multi-time frame helping me, the dashboards aiding my decisions, so much more, and it isn't confusing for me in the slightest. It all ties in. So I've always said use as many tools in your toolbox that make sense, and either simplify it or unsimplify it, complicate it, should I say, to your heart's content. But this works for me. You have to work out what works for you. And once again, the screen time thing is imperative. So let's say we didn't enter that one, but we entered the break of this one and then put a stop below the low there. That's another slight eureka moment. I always talked about putting the stops below swing 2, which turns out to be the low of the 3CR, or the high of the 3CR in this case. So a stop would be above that, the red high of that, or the high of that red bar, should I say, for the entry. But this, as it happens, is often getting us in a lot later than Raja's entries. So, but it's because he enters on the lower time frames, so or uses lower time frames, faster entry. So it's the first bearish bar that is his trigger bar, and as you can see, I'm waiting for a red 2-bar trend and the 3CR. But what my eureka moment was, and sorry I've switched trades, but Raja would be entering the break of that low with all the other, I mean, it's not a perfect looking candle, although I think he would like that because he's got a wick below. So he would be entering the low of that candle, but he doesn't in his live room use the multi-time frame stuff that we do. So as you can see now, let's put, sorry, I should have put a level on the low of that candle. There it is there. Zoom in a bit now and go to M15. Get rid of that again. And take the scroll off. So, as you can see now, we actually do have a M15 3CR. I didn't cherry pick this. It was just coincidental that I decided to look at that one. as you know from my videos, a little bit off the cuff. So we now have a whole new scenario. We've got the push down, the pullback, the 3CR, and when you have this sort of scenario here also, these are all nuances that you need to spend screen time. This will be a 5-minute 3CR most likely with the pullback. We can see that in hindsight. So what do we know? If we've had a push down and a pullback, then accumulation, distribution, whatever you want to call it, has been done, and it's likely the move will move quite fast. Well, as you can see, 3CR down, or it's actually an internal 3CR, this one. Apologies, I should have pointed that out right at the start. The true 3CR level is this one here. That's an inside bar, so that's your penultimate high, that's your ultimate high, that is the low that you would expect in the old days to call a proper 3CR. As you can see, there is the close below it, and this is down to my settings on Aaron's indicator, and once again this one moves fast as well. So all of the accumulation distribution is getting done before the 3CRs in this instance, and that is another nuance of what we do. But Raja enters for different reasons, although he does acknowledge the pullback happens as a result of what I see as a 3CR, a break of old wick lows or break of old support in this instance will cause a potential test to see whether it will act as resistance. And but these entries via Raja's method are getting me in so early with such tight stops that it warranted a new video. And if we can go back to the original example, the long gold example on the H1, what we also see now is a whole new set of circumstances. That's your support level. Bearing in mind we took it on the 30, remember, or I took it on even less than that, 15 minute, 5 minute. But we have now got a brand new entry level. So if we put a resistance level on that H1 high, that yellow line there, and then we drop to the 30 minute, it might be the same. As I say, this is off the cuff. I'm sorry, it's getting a bit messy now. That was so it is. I mean, we talked about that messy candle there. Not sure what Raja would have done there. Haven't studied his stuff enough, but that is the same M30 high. But we now have the exact same scenario on H1 there. So my point being, the H1 being a higher time frame will give you, it's a stronger signal. It will give you better targets, although you know the target is the same. And I think Raja would call this a set of clean candles. We know we've got a 3CR on the H1. We know that will potentially create a pullback, which is happening. And then what happens, this is a statement of intent to the long side. It's an uptrend in candlestick parlance, low, high, high, low, high, high, pullback, continuation. So the point being, as a scalper, it's a brand new potential full size trade. We can also see on the left hand side we've clearly broken that congestion zone, PPZ, price pivot zone, or we could also see it as a line chart high. And you remember the closes for my money are more valuable than the wicks. So when we've closed above that blue level now with a candle, that candle there, it means we've broken a significant level of resistance on the left hand side. So it stands to reason we get the bounce and we continue up. So we've had Raja's reversal on, say for example, in my strategy on the M5 or the M15, using the RSI histo, bust, pullback, break and close, using the multi-time frame, using the Bollingers, all the other tools in my toolbox to get into that trade earlier, but also with a view, in hindsight, what Raja would do. So I've now got a win-win situation, as I like to call it. I've got another way to view all of this stuff that I do, and I've incorporated what Raja does. And without trying to complicate things even more, I like to I understand what the strat do, and there are multiple crossovers with all three methods, to be honest with you. And what can I say? So when I post a few of my trades now, because I'm taking them all over the place, and I don't want to explain why, much the same as Raja wants to keep his stuff simple with the 30-minute, there are trades absolutely everywhere. And you know, if you can incorporate all three methods, the strat, what Raj does, and what I do, and you know, build yourself a winning strategy. So yeah, I mean, you know, it'll be interesting to watch what this does. This has been up to about 22 pips. I closed out what I always do, 7 or 8 pips, and leave a tiny percentage, a minuscule percentage running. I've yet to develop at the moment I'm just developing a method to take trades every moment I possibly can, including stocks now in the afternoon, which is like a hobby at the moment, but will become a separate, entirely separate, if you like, money-making strategy. And then, getting back to the point, I will improve my splitting trades. Perhaps someone suggested 60-40, someone else said 80-20. I just can't get out of the scalper's mindset, I'm sorry to say, but not necessarily a bad thing. Scalpers scalp. Some scalpers I know have taken 1 or 2 pips 30 times a day, and they've done it for decades. I'm thinking of one in particular, but I know Claudia, who used to trade for Deutsche Bank, I think, who is on Forex Factory, Claudia 1, is happy to scalp her way, and she used to make me chuckle. She is a wine aficionado, so she would have a scalp and say, I'm off to the wine bar. So still makes me laugh now. Ex-pro trader, whoever tells you pro traders don't scalp and couldn't give a shit about reward risk, it's because you've got to remember your hit rate is a part of that reward risk. If you're winning 95% of your trades because you're only taking 1 or 2 pips and you've got tight stops, then you're just as clever as the guy getting 7-1 and sitting around stressing about his trades for weeks on end. Why would you bother, really, to be honest with you? Anyway, each to their own. So thanks for watching. Possible continuation long. Don't ever look at my charts and consider entering because I've got a target up here, say for example, and I entered here with a stop here. It could all go terribly, terribly wrong. You just have to study everyone's methods and work out. My expertise, as it were, is on precision entries. And that's it. Simple as that. Okay, thanks for watching. Sorry for a rambling video, but hopefully you got the point, is that I'm benefiting so much from applying Raja's logic with his wicks and stuff like that, that I don't, you know, this is why I'm learning so much, because I've just discounted wicks. Wicks are an inconvenience, if you like. Wicks, as I said to you before, this wick meant nothing to me because I used the line chart. And so consequently, I've left a lot of information and knowledge on the table that I'm learning and constantly improving. What can you say? Win-win. Thanks for watching. Green pips, everyone. Have a great day.